my name is Larissa Rios, and today we will be discussing synovial joints. So first, there are 6 types of synovial joints. The first one we will be discussing is ball and socket joint. So a ball and socket joint, also known as a spheroidal joint, is a joint in which a knob-like surface of one rounded bone fits into the cavity shape of another bone, allowing rotary motion. So a good example of this would be your hip or your shoulder, where the bone goes into the cup-like socket and gives you the mobility to move in a rotary shape motion. The second type of synovial joint would be condylar. A condyloid joint is when an oval articular surface of one bone fits into the complementary depression of another. So an example of this would be metacarpals into phalange joint and your knee. The third type of synovial joints would be a plane joint. Plane joint is also known as gliding joint, and it allows for a gliding, sliding movement and a plane of articular surface of flat or almost flat opposing surfaces. So a good example of this is between your vertebrae, your wrist, and your ankle. The fourth type of synovial joint is hinge joint. Hinge joint, also referred to as ginglymus, allows for motion in only one plane for flexion and extension. An example of this is jaw, elbow, and jaw, elbow, and knee. Pardon me. The fifth type of synovial joint is pivot. A pivot joint is also called a trochoid joint, and it is where the end of 2 bones meet, with one being a central bony cylinder and the other being a ring-like structure made of bone and ligament. So an example of this would be proximal radial ulnar joint and atlantoaxial joint. And our last example of this would be a saddle joint. A saddle joint, also referred to as a sellar joint, is when opposing surfaces are reciprocally concave and convex, so they fit together like a rider would in a saddle and the saddle, hence saddle joint. Examples of this are carpal and metacarpal, where the carpal and metacarpal of the thumb are. And that's all we have today for synovial joints.